Are we live? Is the mic going? The mic is going. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the TWIR Weekly Podcast. It is episode 8 of 2024. We're getting way into the season, and it is time to talk some more news. Starting off, we are going to wrap up some of the news from last week, including NASCAR at Talladega, Indycar at Long Beach, and some NASCAR news that may affect the next couple weeks. Starting off, as we always do, with NASCAR at Talladega. In the Xfinity Series, the race was won by Jesse Love, his first career win, driving the RCR number 2. A car that it took Sheldon Creed, what was it? 2 years? Still didn't win. It took Jesse Love like 8 races or something like that. So Jesse Love, huge improvement over Sheldon Creed already. Everyone got up from their seats because Brennan Poole was on the high side in a tribute scheme to the car that had a win stolen from it back in 2016. Poole was first to the line in that race, but NASCAR said the caution came out before the leader hit the finish line, so they declared Elliott Sadler the winner. That car, that tribute scheme, almost won, but again, it came up short. No one came up to back him. Anthony Alfredo just went around him, which caused Joey Gase to get turned on the low line, and everyone was fighting for second at that point, just destroying themselves in the tri-oval while Love was going to an easy win. So many underdogs in the top 10, all that for an RCR win. Fantastic. Can we? A lot of people think that car was disgustingly illegal. And there's no way that he made it that far on fuel, which honestly is kind of a sound argument. I think he did the longest fuel stint out of anybody, I would think. Moving on to Cup, the race was won by Tyler Reddick. It looked like Ford was going to get their first race of the year, their first win of the year, because they had Michael McDowell and Brad Keselowski. Top 2, Michael McDowell being the pole sitter. Did not happen because McDowell threw a dumb block in the tri-oval on the final lap as Keselowski was trying to get past him. Instead of just letting a Ford win, McDowell swerved from the top lane, went 4 lanes down into the bottom, spun around the front of Keselowski, caused Keselowski to get slow, and caused Reddick to blow right by and take another win for Toyota. So Ford is still winless in the top 3 divisions. And I think they're winless in ARCA too. I'm pretty sure. So this is not a good year. This has not been a good year for Ford. Moving on to IndyCar. Finally, we get a points-paying race after 6 weeks. Thank you, NASCAR, for kicking Texas off of our schedule. That really... Yeah, take the race that had the most overtakes by lap last year and just give us the old heave-ho and, leave IMS as the only big oval, but, I can rant about how IndyCar needs more big ovals all day. But the true fact is, we were at Long Beach, second biggest race of the year, like 200,000 people showed up. That's close to a new record, I think. And they got what they wanted. Scott Dixon won on, honestly, what people thought was impossible fuel mileage. He was being chased down by Colton Herta and Joseph Newgarden before Herta and Newgarden hit each other in the hairpin, which caused Newgarden's car to enter anti-stall briefly, where he fell back to 4th and was bothered by Marcus Ericsson for the last few laps. They came up on lap traffic. Nolan Siegel let both leaders through. Kiffin Simpson let his teammate Scott Dixon through, but did not let Colton Herta through, which I think allowed Dixon to stretch out the lead with the remaining amount of fuel that he had and seal him a W. There is some odd IndyCar news. The only bit of NASCAR news we have is that Eric Jones will be out for at least one race because he suffered a compression fracture to one of his vertebrae in an honestly strange wreck where all of the Toyotas, like 6 of the 8 Toyotas, had come off of the pit lane together in a pack, and they were drafting together. Jones got turned by somebody who got turned by John Hunter Nemechek. Oh, yeah. Jones got turned by Bubba Wallace, who was turned by John Hunter Nemechek, Jones's teammate at Legacy Motor Club. And Jones goes right up the track, hits the wall head on, almost like I I just said Dale influence in the heat of the moment. It looked like Dale's crash, but gladly not the same outcome. Jones was able to walk away with only a compression fracture to one of his vertebrae, but that means he will be out of the Legacy Motor Club number 43 for at least Dover. He said in a social media post that he's taking it on a week by week basis. Corey Heim will drive the 43 in his place. Massive, massive IndyCar news. Joseph Newgarden and Scott McLaughlin have been disqualified from the race at St. Petersburg, a race that happened 7 weeks ago. They have been disqualified for, quote, improper push to pass usage. A lot of stuff has come out since that. I think it was like Wednesday when that DQ came out. That's why I waited on making the podcast for so long. I didn't want to speculate. It says, let me pull up the Nathan Brown tweet right now. According to a tweet by Nathan Brown, who's usually a pretty credible IndyCar source, he talked to Tim Cindric, who is the president of Team Penske, and he said that Cindric said that it was a software error in the push-to-pass code that remained from hybrid system testing back in August of 2023. And the engineers had copy-pasted the setup file to the 2024 cars and forgot to take out a line of code that allows the push-to-pass extra horsepower system to be used on starts and restarts. That is not allowed, and usually IndyCar mechanically or electronically restricts the deployment of push-to-pass until the alternate start-finish line is crossed on the lap of a start or restart. Cindric also said that there is no one in Team Penske that purposely put the code there within the software of the 2, 3, and 12 cars. I did not mention Will Power has also been docked 10 points because they have found zero evidence that Power actually used the push-to-pass vulnerability, while McLaughlin did for 1.9 seconds, and Newgarden did a lot. So that's why the 2 and the 3 have been disqualified, but the 12 has not. Cindric said that if somebody had left the code in there on purpose to gain an advantage, you would have already known who they were. Both Power and McLaughlin released statements on social media saying that, they accept the penalty, whatever. Joseph Newgarden decided to have a press conference. He said during the press conference that he had spoken to Roger Penske once since Monday, talking. He categorized it as an interrogation. He also spoke with Jay Fry and explained how this happened on his end, and Jay Fry did not believe him, that he didn't know what was going on. So it looks like IndyCar's playing bad cop here and is saying, because Joseph's out here saying, oh, I had no clue what's going on, and Jay Fry's basically just clapping back at him like, yeah, you did. So, a lot of people in the paddock, I'm still on Nathan Brown's Twitter, by the way, Um, Colton Herta called it BS. Um, Graham Rahal said practically the same thing. He said, quote, I didn't appreciate the excuses that were made because I don't think they were valid. So I think most of the paddock is on the side of Penske knew that this was happening. And they're trying to cover it up. Mark Miles said that this probably won't happen again. They didn't catch it at St. Pete. The only reason the penalty even happened is that is because IndyCar caught the software quote unquote bug during warm up at Long Beach. Um, Mark Miles said that they have mechanisms in place that think they should prevent this issue from happening in the future. Um, so their investigation's already complete. They didn't do anything with it in 2023. This has just been a copy paste of. This is someone who accidentally, I guess, copy pasted the hybrid testing setup to the 2024 car setup because I believe with the hybrids, this allows push to pass to be deployed at any time because that's that's kind of how the hybrid's supposed to work. You okay? Audio cut out there. That was weird. Um, but I will restate that. Um, I believe that the push to pass is where that's how the hybrid's supposed to work. You can deploy it any time. That's what F1 does, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's what the plan for the supercapacitor hybrid, whatever this thing is, push to pass that they're doing. Moving on. Oh, Pato Award inherits the St. Pete win. We don't know if there has been a trophy swap between, or a trophy rearrangement between Pato, Newgarden, and whoever else. But Pato Award is now the winner of the St. Pete race, 7 weeks late, mind you. He has broken McLaren's win streak since his own win back in Iowa. Race 2 at Iowa in 2022. That was Award's most recent win. That was McLaren's most recent win too, because I don't think, yeah, because Rossi hasn't won one for McLaren. Rosenquist didn't, and Malukas hasn't even been in the car yet. So moving on, finally, in other news, massive F1 news, due to the, I don't know what you'd call it, infighting at Oracle Red Bull Racing, their star designer, the possibly greatest artist in the history of Formula One, Adrian Newey, is looking to leave, and potential landing spots for him include other top front-running teams like Aston Martin, Ferrari, and I've actually heard multiple people say that he may end up at Haas if everything goes insane. So, Adam Miller did a pretty good video about this. Not gonna dive too deep into it, but because of the information that Adrian Newey is able to, or the information that he possesses, the ideas that he has, Red Bull wants to put him on gardening leave before he leaves. So he takes like a year off before any team can hire him. That way, all of the ideas that he has are 12 months old, out of date, and won't give the team that he's joining. He won't give their car an advantage on paper. So Newey is looking to leave. Frederick Vasseur's master plan may be complete here, depending on where he goes. If Ferrari is able to snag Adrian Newey from Red Bull and have him actually design a decent car. Remember, Lewis Hamilton is on a multi-year deal with Ferrari starting in 2025. He might be able to chase that 8th world title if he has Newey designing that car, which I think would be kind of cool to see. Um, but everyone's hoping that Newey goes to Ferrari, and a select few, including myself, want him to go to Haas for the funny. More F1 news. They have announced a US only 24/7 streaming channel where you can watch a bunch of classic races. This is basically just NASCAR classics, but for F1. But this is only for the US audience, strangely enough. So I find that a little bit interesting. And Formula E revealed their Gen 3 Evo car, which isn't too different from the original Formula E Gen 3. It doesn't look that different considering the in terms of bodywork. The car doesn't look that different. It may be a little bit pointier than the original Gen 3, but I can't tell. The main um improvements for the Gen 3 are in the battery, the the deployment system, and in the actual car software. Um, I will pull up the racer article right now and read a few of them off. Yeah, so the car looks a little bit pointier. The front wing is different. So the whole front nose / wing assembly looks a little bit different. I want fenders back, and I really don't like the fins. I basically just want the Gen 2 Evo. Like uh that car was cool. It sucks that it got canned because of COVID. But it's same dimensions, so they must have just reworked the nose aerodynamics so the car stays within the same profile, so it doesn't mess up, how they're transported, which is probably a good thing. It saves cost. Um, it's going to be uh, the current Gen 3 is 600 kilowatts with regen. Um, the Gen 3 Evo car has the ability um, to do the 600 kilowatt high speed charge for the fast charging pit stops, which will make Formula E actually interesting again for the first time since probably 2018-19 to me. 2018-19 is the best Formula E season. That's actually kind of how I got into racing because whatever cable provider I had at the time had all of the season 5 races on demand, so I just watched them over and over and over again, and that's why my favorite race is the 2019 Paris E-Prix because it's just chaos. Um, the car is probably going to gain about 0.2 seconds a lap everywhere, at basically every single track, and have a modest weight gain of about 19 kilograms, taking it to 859 kilograms overall, including the driver. The other major thing is that the outgoing car has a front powertrain to handle regen. The Gen 3 Evo will have a full all-wheel drive available for qualifying duels, race starts, and attack mode to improve acceleration. The dash to 60 miles an hour, the 0 to 60 time for this new car is 1.8 seconds, which is 30% quicker than an F1 car, which makes sense because electric cars, instant torque, great. New bodywork, so slightly a little bit pointier. That's what I thought. Improved tires, and I think that's pretty much it. Some other sustainability things, and a little footnote about Gen 4. But races this week, before we wrap up here, we have NASCAR Cup and Xfinity Series at Dover Motor Speedway. The Xfinity Series will be running the Bet Rivers 200, and the NASCAR Cup Series will be running the Worth 400. IndyCar, Indy Next, and USF Pro, not USF Pro, USF Juniors are at Barber Motorsports Park for the Grand Prix of Alabama festivities. That's actually all we have this week. So make sure to comment down below your questions for the Q&A. I will actually make a Twitter post this week. Thank you so much for listening to the TWIR Weekly Podcast, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.